Need for Speed 2022. That's right, we're back talking about Need for Speed because, as you may or may not know, Need for Speed and the arcade races are my realm, and so I shall be discussing it with you. Now, there's been some pretty mad goings on recently, and so that's why I wanted to make a video just talking to you guys and getting your opinions on what all this means, because it's confusing me, and I'm sure it's confusing a lot of you. One week, EA seems to say something and then contradicts it with the other. There's no Need for Speed this year. That is confirmed. But let's dive straight in because I don't want to waste no time. They released this statement, and I have some things to pick out upon it. Having Criterion, who delivered some of the most amazing experiences in our history and have worked really closely with DICE in the past, come together to realize that the fullness of that ambition was just a no-brainer for this year. So they're talking about Battlefield. If you didn't know, Criterion, the ones that are now making Need for Speed, have been moved to work on Battlefield. What also happened, of course, is that we acquired Codemasters and a number of new racing games, including the F1 franchise, and it was an opportunity for us to really think more broadly about our holistic racing strategy. Need for Speed will absolutely be a meaningful part of our future. Sounds good, right? To me, this says, oh, actually, maybe they're gonna use a little bit of that Cody's sauce, the Cody's employees, and make them help with the Need for Speed. And honestly, that would be great. I would love to see, not even just separating the franchise, because I still would like Dirt to exist. I think the way they could do this very, very easily is if they got Cody's on the Frostbite engine, or if they made an engine between them. Assets could be shared. Like in Forza Motorsport, you've got the Motorsport game and the Horizon games. All the cars are shared. All the assets, the trees, everything can be just copied across, and boom, it's across all the games. Now, don't get me wrong, this still can happen with separate engines, but ultimately, I want cross-collaboration to be as easy as possible. We actually think there is. With the culmination of EA and Codemasters, we can actually expand, extend, and enhance an interesting franchise. But those two things together meant that having Criterion work on Battlefield this year was an absolute shut up. Again, they're saying it is possible that they will use Codemasters for Need for Speed. That is clear. That end statement says nothing else but we will use them for Need for Speed, or vice versa. So what's the issue, Thea? We're going to get the biggest Need for Speed there's been, because, you know, all the people from Ghost moved to Criterion, right? No! I've heard from people, okay? And I'm just going to throw it into the wind. I've heard from a few people that the people that actually moved across from Sweden is minimal. Like, you can count it on your hand. Now, whether that's true for the long term, we don't know. But a lot of the people that were at Ghost stayed at Ghost or went to DICE, which is also in Sweden. You don't move from one part of Europe to the other just like that. Some people can, some people do, but it's not like that. It's not like moving state. Like, I don't want to make this a negative video. I hate that. I want this to be a series that informs you and makes you excited about the next Need for Speed, but it's impossible to do it when it's run by these idiots. So the main source here, I wasn't going to make a video on that. Quite honestly, that's just PR fluff. We kind of knew that that's why they bought Codemasters. But then another statement came out a few days later that contradicted it completely. We will be treating Codemasters Studios as an independent group for the foreseeable future, giving them all the support they need to deliver their much-loved games and exploring all opportunities for growth as we go. We're incredibly excited about what the future holds for them, and while they will remain independent, we'll be there to pour fuel on their growth opportunities through the power of EA's distribution. So which is it? Which one? I hate this so much. I know it's all PR fluff, okay? I know it is. In fact, I feel like this is a backtracking statement to what they said last time. And I think it was told by two different people, okay? Don't get me wrong. There's always discussion of which way it will go. And I don't think EA understands racing games. They have released some of the best racing games that we have ever played. And that's funny, because clearly they're showing me that they have no idea. They need people like us to tell them. Listen to me right now. But what I'm going to tell you, EA, quite frankly, we are the biggest Need for Speed community on this web, on the internet. And I'm going to tell you straight to your face, this community of Need for Speed people do not want to play F1 in place of a Need for Speed. I don't know why I need to explain this, but it seems like the big wigs that are in control of this seem to assume that they like cars. They have car game. One car game a year, maybe F1, maybe Dirt, maybe Need for Speed. yeah, enjoy. I highly doubt that all the same bigwigs sit down in a room and go, oh yeah, the people that like FIFA love WWE. No! The communities aspect of cars. Real life cars, modified and ripping up the streets against police. That is the Need for Speed community. F1 is totally opposite directions. Dirt is a little bit more over, but it's still on the racing professional side. All of Codemasters' titles are on that side. Need for Speed is the complete opposite of this. And that is why it is so big, so popular. You've acquired Codemasters and you know the sales. You know that Need for Speed demolishes all of Codemasters games combined. Surely you as a company, ultimately you're a big company, you now have the figures, the stats, the sales, the income, everything for those games. You can see the Need for Speed absolutely smashes it. I'm not talking about a couple hundred copies. We're talking about millions of copies above. F1 is Codemasters' biggest game, and it still struggles 2 or 3 million. Under EA, it will do better. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not trying to bash F1. But Need for Speed does high millions, tens of millions. And the reason is it's because it's so like everything about the game is what everyone wants. I know that people that play F1 pick up and try Need for Speed, whereas the other way around doesn't really happen. I mean, it can, don't get me wrong, again, I have the last year, but I'm not playing it consistently like I do Need for Speed. EA needs someone to go to them and tell them, this is stupid. Use us, use the community. We're a free resource to show you that you are being stupid. You're repeating the same mistakes over and over again, and only we can see this. For some reason, you just seem in this like ivory tower. It's a good job we have Forza and the crew, because I think we would be starved. All right, I worry ultimately what this all means to me is I think we might see, instead of more Need for Speeds like was initially thought could happen, we might see less, which again could be a good thing. But ultimately, I think for us, it's going to be a bad thing. They don't have the staff. They're clearly investing in the fact that Codemasters should be independent. They're not even planning to use the same engine, to use the resources from one game to another. Now, I understand that F1 shouldn't, but I'm talking about Dirt and everything. It's a very confusing time to be a Need for Speed fan. But again, as much as I want to just bring you positive, cool, exciting, no, oh my God, I can't wait. So there we are. Please let me know how you think this is going to go. I'm going to sum it up on what I think right now is happening. I think 2022 is not off the cards, but I think there's a chance. EA seem to think that any racing game will satisfy any fans. It's funny as well because they bought Slightly Mad Studios in the Codemasters acquisition. And if you didn't know, Need for Speed Shift 2 was the worst selling Need for Speed. It actually sold just about 1 million copies, which is terrible for Need for Speed. But they did the same thing 10 years ago with Shift. Everyone hated it. It wasn't Need for Speed. They clearly haven't learned from that same damn mistake that they made. EA do not learn. But they're going to release games on a schedule, maybe a 3-4 year schedule between each game. But man, I don't want to. Dirt doesn't usually have enough content for a year, never mind 6 months, never mind a few months. Dirt is quite a short-lived game, and that's fine. But if you want a game that keeps making money, Need for Speed is the one. You know that Need for Speed's still in the top 10 games for PS4 and 5. Of course, PS4 sales are whatever, but the PlayStation Network still, every month, Need for Speed's in the top. There's a chance here to really expand on it, just adding cars in as DLC, season pass content. You can do that stuff, and we want it. This is a franchise that is gasping for content to be added, even paid content. But I think they need someone to keep them in check, and I think that person is partly me and partly you guys. So please tell us in the comments. Let them know, and so hopefully someone at EA can send this video to a bigwig and be like, are you stupid? But in a nice way, so they don't lose their job. Be sure to smash like, my friends. Subscribe if you are new. And don't worry, the 2022 series will continue. I have a couple of ideas about concepts that I want to show you guys. So be on the lookout for those, because I'm working on them as a slow process in the background. All right, I will see you in the next video, my friends. Until next time. Peace.